on fight against the former world champions of NiP.
NiP looking to match the standings of Rogue. They could go 6-0 here if they are able to take out XSET in regulation, but of course XSET will be no pushovers going into this matchup. Thatcher to be the first to ban out, opening up those walls made a little bit harder if some of that wall denial is kept in.
Second ban to round out Ossa. All right. I seem to recall a decent amount of Ossa play from NiP earlier today. I remember Muzi. Remember we went and played back at the Kennels Rafters and punished that aggression from DAMWON Kia. So, I mean, obviously, we've talked about this. Neither team has played border in the entirety of Stage 2. So there's not a lot of like counter-voting, counter-strategy you can do specifically for this map. That feels more of a playstyle thing. XSET just don't like playing against Ossa, and they know NiP will bring it. So get it out of there.
Absolutely. I feel like I totally agree with this ban. Mira to go out and Valkyrie to go out. So here we go. Right. Smoke has been left in. Kino's celebrating. Yay, finally. But I mean, he's on the attack anyway, so he's not going to get to play it for just a little while. What this does mean, though, Dev, is all of the hard breach is left in.
Yeah.
We still have Kaid left in also, and no Thatcher to be able to deal with it. So if they're a Kaid in a little bit of a pesky spot, it would be very difficult for the attack to deal with.
We got the Twitch pick, and particularly on border, particularly on that Teller's bomb site downstairs, which we are not this round, but I'll quickly make my remark anyway. Twitch, I'm a big fan of. There's a little drone hole in the bathroom. You can sneak a Twitch drone into sight in the bathroom and take out that electrical that would usually be on the hatch that goes into office. So you can kind of get around the fact you don't have Thatcher if you can be a bit sneaky-beaky-like with the Twitch drones. But you know, it's not Tellers right now. Thank you. There you go. Easy showed us that little drone hole for a sec. It's not that bomb site right now. And in fact, there is no wall denial aside from the mute, which is, my guess, not used for wall denial, but for drone denial anyhow. So that Twitch, I don't know. What's it going to be used for?
Well, this current setup from NiP is very spread out through this entire top floor. They've opened up many lines of sight. There's a rotate hole going into triple, holding onto that east stairs for dear life. A rotate hole even going into break room from that hallway. Recently, making this 90 hallway a power position has been a strat that has come into fashion throughout Stage 2, and NiP are leaning into this as well with very proficient roamers on their side.
The big hitter, anchor operator, or, I mean, it doesn't have to be an anchor. The big hitter, Hell in a Cell operator I'm looking at, construction operator, is this his army. And it's Muzi to do it. You can create some insane positions with this new operator, the newest to make it into Rainbow Six. And, I mean, she is coming like a hot fire storm into this pro-level play. They know exactly how to use it to make those attacks difficult.
And I love the way that Muzi is doing his architecture inside of break room as well. This is a fortress that he's built here, really. That first Keeper barricade is protecting him from that doorway entry. The second is allowing him to play it almost like a pseudo-deployable shield inside of break room and preventing that entry. The jump in eventually doesn't work out for XSET though. Wizard to take down Gomez and the first pick of this series.
Straight into the meat grinder, and it's a three-way crossfire that works out for NiP. As they start to peel back the layers of this defense. They might have had a nice little setup with the Azami Keeper barriers and break room, but they say, look, all good things must come to an end, and that includes our control of that part of the map. XSET can have it. We found the pick.
And not only that, but they've also reinforced back up that triple wall rotate that they originally had. So NiP saying, okay, we've got our pick, let's dial it back. Let's not give XSET another in that they could potentially have, and we might not be watching. Playing it servered, I think, is the way to go for this team.
Oh, Yoga dealing with that goo mine from Legion. NiP playing quite patiently right now. We saw Muzi as well earlier was downstairs looking through some vertical lines. Yoga takes a hell of a lot of damage from Wizard. He's been such a phenomenal player, but he's naded out of the server. An attempt on a refrag might not be enough. And XSET look poised to send it, but Pino's got something to say.
Pino now starting to contest the breach. Only half of it has been opened, and XSET very stagnated in what they want to do next. Repel will come out to try and push out Pino. He's the lone person on site, so if XSET can take this guy down, maybe that's their in.
Here's a nade. But it's Pino once again. Look at that, and he dashes away. Takes the kill. You can bank that one. It's only Kino left. And, oh, okay, nice shot. I was going to say he's a dead man, but perhaps his days are numbered. My God! Could this be the 1v4 for the ages? He's found two already! Kino, you gotta be kidding me! One more kill!
Kino.
And this is one of the best clutches I've ever seen. Force that diffuser down, son, but it's Pino on the other side. And he's hungry to make this round his own. A good flash, but Pino's got it in the bag.
Pino, oh my goodness, that was looking a bit scary for NiP there. It looked like they had such a great hold of that round, but Kino, goodness gracious me, what on earth was the super sharp shots? One was a hip-fire headshot onto a Legion player inside a box, another a one-tap QE. These players are so mechanically gifted, they're so sharp. And I just cannot believe what they've been able to do in this service so far. NiP, what a beautiful hold that they had, able to architect their way around the break room full off. They didn't give anything away to XSET, reinforcing off what they wanted to, not being greedy. And NiP, even though they're a LATAM team, we often say LATAM teams are crazy, they're very disciplined.
Yeah, that's very true. And look, this is one of the most experienced rosters in Rainbow Six. I'm going to double check my numbers here. But, so everyone except for Wizard, right? You got Psycho, Kamikaze, Muzi, and Pino. They have been playing together on this roster for 2 years and 10 months. That's when Pino joined, right? And then almost a whole year before that, Muzi joined. Psycho and Kamikaze, the duo, have been together teaming on Ninjas in Pyjamas for over 4 years. Some of the longest running teams still repping their org here in Rainbow Six. And that they are true veterans. They are true veterans. They have that discipline. NiP not traditionally known for being a disciplined team, but they've got that, and they've also got the guns to back it up.
NiP doing a very interesting hold here of Bathroom Tellers. I love you, Easy. I know that you've been pouring out this castle waiting for me to talk about it, and these castle barricades are put in some very interesting spots. They're actually playing a rotate in the bottom of Easters to go back into the site, trying to make a stronghold out of this mezzanine, out of this break room area by playing a lot of these rotates on the top floor, aided by the castle barricades to stop any cutoffs. Diaz, though, he will start to get his way into this jail wall instead, immediately taking down one of the K claws. It seems like XSET, they're just going to put the pressure on the ground floor for now.
And good usage of the Twitch, bypassing that Thatcher ban by showing that there's more. Well, there are lots of ways to skin a cat. I heard someone say that that was a really weird phrase, and look, I believe it. I'm not one much for skinning cats, but it is a phrase that I'm going to use.
That is a bit of a weird one. I don't know if I can back you on that. Look, Dev.
Have you heard that before? I'm not crazy. That's not just me.
I don't think you're going crazy, but I think that is a bit of a weird one, and I am judging you for it.
I will abstain.
I'm judging you for it.
I love cats.
Okay. Anyway, XSET now starting to get their way into customs. NiP seem to be somewhat keyed into this push. They're not going to walk into the lines of sight. Wizard is backing his castle barricade setup he's got here. There's one on the...
Oh my God,
no, hang on a second. He just threads the needle onto Kino. He's backed up by his castle barricade on his back on the workshop door. He knows that no one's going to come and backstab him. He can thread the needle and that tiny line of sight and will take down Kino.
Dude's nuts. And that's Hard Breacher down as well. Kamikaze, they take down Spirits. And, well, it's not High Spirits now for XSET. 3 on 5. They might have taken some early map control, but that defuse is cold on the ground. Yoga's got to try and retrieve it, but he's so worried about this crossfire he's about to walk into. NiP looking very comfy. Kamikaze lands enough shots to take Yoga within an inch of his life. And it's all favored for NiP right now. Finally, XSET gets something back. Something back again. Is this going to be enough?
Oh.
Hang on a second. What's XSET doing?
They've managed to slip through this top floor. Gomez making his way on that Finker. Yoga also to take down one with a grenade. Oh, Psycho starts to be keyed in though. He's actually in a three-way pinch from the remaining XSET players, now leaving Wizard left in the 1-on-3.
Oh, but it's Wizard. You can never count him out. There's a damn well reason that NiP dropped a player like Julio for a player like Wizard. And that's because they know what he's capable of on the 1v2 now. It's the duo of Gomez and Diaz, Brazilians themselves. Wizard's on for this flank. He's got the audio call, listen for it, but Diaz is there to punish. And he says, not today.
Wizard, he tried to make his way through that top floor to eventually flank the way onto XSET, but the real hero of this round was Gomez. Being able to bring back what he could onto NiP. This time, NiP, they weren't as disciplined. They got those first few picks, but they still tried to hold on to the map control they could off the back of that castle barricade setup. They had such a dynamic hold that they didn't have enough reinforcements and time to rotate their way back and hold on to things on the site like they did in the previous strategy. They were forced to play where they could with that utility that was there. And as a result, it allowed Gomez to slip through some of the cracks that weren't being watched. And that's the danger of having such a dynamic strategy. You can really only be watching 5 angles at a time. There is 5 players. Yep. If an attack can slip through like that and find 2 or 3 kills, there's a little bit of a hole that they've managed to find.
It's still early days for this game, though we are getting a sense that it's going to be a tight one, right? Round 1 came down to a 1 versus 1, nearly a 1v4 clutch from Kino. Round 2, XSET from a 3v5 to a 2v0. They took down all 5 NiP players for only losing a single one of their own. And, well, NiP, they're at least not going to dwell too much on the Teller's bathroom bomb site. They're going to mix it up and go customs and supply. Look, personally, I find this quite a tough bomb site to defend. You've got to make sure you have a really well thought out strategy to make this work.
Well, NiP seem like they have it. Every single time they bring out this castle, along aided with some mute jams, to make it really difficult for XSET to pick apart. There's just almost only so much intel you can get, but once again, XSET immediately putting the pressure onto this jail wall. They've said, all right, we know the bomb site's here, let's just make them worried about something. Get this wall open, see what we can find next, because the rest of the map is a big puzzle, it's a big maze for them to work through, so just get step 1 down.
Yeah, easier said than done. This jail wall can be a real nuisance. Spirits hears that mute jammer, and the Twitch drone once again. Diaz doing wonders on the util clear with this Twitch drone. Kamikaze hunting it down. Oh, there you go, finally. But still, 1 Twitch drone getting that wall open. I'd say that's worth it.
And I don't mind this approach from XSET so far. They've not opted to clear out that top floor and instead are just pressing out these anchors on the site, forcing them off the site and flushing them away. Perhaps NiP looking for the retake position, but so far almost the entire site has been vacated, bar 2 anchors that are just sitting on the outskirts of it, waiting for any XSET players that might be entering in. Is there any vertical pressure? I don't know, but Yoga is the one to open up this round with a grenade.
What a nade. That was from outside detention, I think. Now, what is the play for XSET? They got man advantage. This is really a direct hit. Like, you're not seeing anything upstairs. Muzi's sitting pretty, holding on to 90. It's putting some pressure on the players on site, but surely these roamers above are going to be able to have an impact.
Well, it seems like XSET are stagnating outside the building at the moment. Perhaps they can't get the drones in. Maybe the intel is being denied so hard by that mute jammer. They're actually going to opt to take this top floor instead. Oop, nope, getting baited out by Yoga. A flood, perhaps, is the way that XSET are going to go for it.
And in they go. Gomez once again the opener. He was a difference maker in the round just gone by, and he's once again found an entry. NiP desperately try and retake. They don't have the numbers. They hear that plant going down, and Spirit's on for the long cross. It's just Muzi and Wizard left. It's just Wizard left. It's nobody left. It's a flawless round for XSET.
A beautiful round for XSET, perfectly read into that attack as well. NiP with a very complex strategy, holding the entirety of the top floor, pushing out horizontally, and XSET just said, actually, we're not going to clear that. We're going to let them get lost in their own maze that they've created in the top floor. We're just going to hit the site, play those trades, because they figured out that there were no more NiP players that were going to be close enough for refrags. There were no crossfires being held, and they fully capitalized on that. Gomez, so consistent on this entry.
And I think XSET are really testing these strategies from NiP. You said that NiP had a nice little setup there, and I think they did. One thing that was lacking is the ability for the roamers above to actually have an impact on the site. You know, for example, that detention wall where most of XSET ended up flooding in through, you can get vert above that.
If you have a nade.
That nade, did that nade kill that player?
I think so.
This is why I like having you here, because when I just don't see things, you're always there. Kino. I guess if there's a single point of failure and one nade kills the one NiP player that's in position to deny that push, like surely that's a pretty critical flaw for NiP. Surely they've got to make sure that someone else can get into that position.
And I would agree with you. NiP seem to be a little bit lost in their own maze at the moment, lost in the strategies. Maybe need to go for something just a little bit simpler, but it doesn't seem like they're going to dial it back any way, shape, or form. Taking us back to Armory as the rest of XSET shape around the map. But hang on a minute. Is that a Glaz pick that I see on the side of XSET?
All right, have a listen. Let's role play for a second. Imagine you're playing the game, and you're like, all right, guys, we're gonna rush this round. What are the 5 operators you pick? I'm gonna guess Glaz, Lion, Ying, Dockerby, and Finka. And guess what XSET have brought? Exactly that. This is a rush play. Plain and simple. It's got to be, surely.
Sure. Well, this feels like a very, very, very calculated rush play, if you ask me. They're all shaping out different sides of the map, putting different points of pressure. Yoga, though, he's going to press the attack. All 3 Candelas committed to this entry inside of Office. Will it pay off?
No.
Uh-oh.
It certainly isn't going to pay off. Kino and Gomez have already gone down. Diaz is the backstab player looking through Armory. But Spirits is really feeling that pressure. Finally, XSET find one back, but at this point, most of the util's been dumped. There's still a couple of smokes left. Yoga and Diaz could deploy to help enable Spirits with this Glaz. And that backstab may just be what they need. Diaz is now in the building.
Diaz now making his way with the DMR. Oh, so dangerous as we've seen. The 2 DMRs will combine from the side of XSET to bring it down to a 2 versus 1.
And NiP did a good job of slowing this rush down. But they didn't stop it dead in its tracks. They just slowed it. Spirits and Diaz now have a chance to clutch. What a play there! The Oryx dashing straight on through the keeper barrier and the wall. And a good rotation for him, but now he's got to worry about the Dockerby call, the logic bomb to detonate, reveal his position, and XSET have the number. There's a whole minute for these 2 attackers to play it, and Pino, he needs to isolate these 1v1s, but there's a good crossfire from XSET. If he can kill Spirits on the Glaz, surely this is on for the clutch. But Pino doesn't know about his position. Is Diaz going to overpeak this? He's not giving him a damn thing.
2 versus 1 situation. The DMR crossfire being held. Pino, he's going to be shut out. Spirits to take him down. And finally, XSET get another round on the board.
It might not have been quite the rush they were looking for, but hey, we'll take it. The result is still there. And the result is XSET really furthering this lead. Now, they might be on the attacking side, which albeit is favoured here on border. It's not a good sign that they've just won 3 rounds in a row. And the 1 round that XSET lost, Kino managed to make that a 1v1. So the North Americans are looking very good here.
They are. I would agree with you on that. That was a very interesting attack that they tried to do. It's not something that we'd ever usually see, and I think it caught NiP off guard quite a lot. They immediately realized our site is currently under a big threat, big attack, alarms start blaring away, and all of a sudden the NiP players start dropping like flies as they're caught off on the rotation back. That Ying and Glaz rush, it was all just debate for Diaz and his teammates to come in with that backstab. And now that's something that NiP have been really struggling with on this defensive half. They've been tunnel visioned into one push and tunnel visioned into playing their strat that they're not really thinking too hard about what XSET have been able to achieve.
I find this is interesting personally. You know, you and me, we usually cast the Apex South region, which is, funnily enough, the only Tier 1 region in the world where border is currently defender-sided. And it is significantly defender-sided at overall 58%. You look at that, the average of every region is 47%. So that means that the rest of these regions in North America, where XSET play, NiP playing down in the BR6, that is, this is an attacker-sided map. And the difference to me is that these teams aren't playing that aggressively on their defense. They're trying to play these strats. They're not, you know, playing hard positions on the east stairs. They're not peeking aggro on these windows and these positions. It's making it so much harder for NiP to find any traction.
Ooh, a vertical grenade could connect onto Pino, but he has the vertical angle. A trade even comes out. XSET, once again, opening up the round on this attack.
But Pino at least happy that he can drag Yoga down with him. That said, XSET now on the back foot. Muzi's found a pick. Gomez, who has been one of the key initiators for XSET, he's out. Information on Muzi. Oh, a bit of a spray through the wall. How has he managed to rotate out alive?
This time, NiP seemed to be a little bit more keyed into the push that XSET were going for. They were able to deny not just 1 entry, but 2 entries, and now leaving 3 XSET players to pick up the pieces. Now, don't count them out just yet. We've seen what each of these XSET players can do when they're down. Last round, they were down the man advantage. This one, they are as well, and I would not count them out count them out just yet. They still have a chance to bring it back if NiP get overzealous.
Hey, it was a 1v4 and Kino even managed to bring it back. So I certainly wouldn't count out this roster at any point, even when Psycho does that.
Uh-oh.
Makes it a bit rougher now. Kino and Diaz to step up. This is a Tellers and Bathroom defense, and there is the Kaid on the board as well. Kino doesn't even have enough Selmas to breach if he wanted to on that hatch. But Muzi is still at large upstairs, and I mean, it looks inevitable. He's going to take out Diaz. Oh no, the peak. Feels his position. Can't get away.
A pinch coming out now on the side of XSET. Both of them trying to double down and take down Muzi. Muzi eventually does go down at the hands of Diaz. And now a 2-on-3 situation is slightly more winnable for the side of XSET. But look at the rest of the NiP players. They're so disciplined. They're back on the site now. They're not willing to give anything anymore away.
Yeah, but hang on a second. It might be a 1v3, but we've seen Kino make a 1v4 or 1v1. There's nobody in Bathroom right now. He does have Diffuser. Might be able to bait out a little bit. Is this rotation fine? It is. Spots out a player. Carsey down. No attempt at a refrag here for NiP. There's time to play with. Kino starts putting that Diffuser down. Psycho on for the push. He tries to bait out and it works perfectly. Is Kino able to isolate these fights? If he can, this could be a dub, but Psycho's there. And NiP finally stemmed the bleeding. They get another round of defense back.
NiP played a much more disciplined defense that particular round. I really like the way that as soon as they were able to deny the entry, they didn't overpeak, and all of them, even though they still actually had that real estate, said, we're afraid, let's just fall off. We've made this mistake over and over and over again. Knock it away. Bar Muzi, who was stuck inside of break room and couldn't get out anymore after that. But the rest of the NiP players played that to perfection. Even off the back, Psycho, the tiny little micro play to bait out the defuse and wait for his teammate. Just another small sign of discipline to show the experience on this roster can bring them back into this game.
And keeping in mind that XSET on the favoured side right now, as it stands, is that if anything, the pressure's on their shoulders. XSET yet to find a single point out of today's games, with losing to Rogue in regulation. NiP in a bit more of a comfortable position, and having realistically met par for the course here on their border defense. If XSET can make this a 4-2, yeah, it wouldn't be ideal for NiP, but I think that they can foresee a comeback on their attacking side. Whereas if NiP can even this up to a 3-3, XSET have got to be sweating.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
NiP once again starting to make this 90 hallway control a power position for them. Now last time XSET were able to attack this was because they did that very strange attack onto the archives with the lineup that they had. This time they're going for something a little bit more conventional, taking a little bit more time to get into the building because, well, NiP, they've gone back to discipline mode and they know that XSET's push is not going to work twice.
Nice long angle from Spirits here. All the way from outside passport, deep angles into customs. Good droning once again from Diaz. We've seen mixed success with the Twitch drones. I'd say overall it's been an excellent pick. He's got another drone as well. He can check vents. I love this, Easy. Specking the drones. Give us support players some love. I saw Fresh made a tweet about DPEC, and I saw R6 Esports made a tweet in his honor as well. You got to respect the support players.
You absolutely do, and XSET have a plenty of very capable support players. Now they're starting to make their way into the building. They're looking for a bottom and up take, Dev. They're not going to hit the site like they did last time. They're going to take the real estate they can. Oh, Psycho, that's a very dangerous fight to be taking onto Gomez. The shots don't completely connect though, and Psycho can get away with his life.
So, I mean, I like this, right? XSET, they've got some good ground. But how are they actually going to convert this? How are they going to start pressuring NiP into a position where they're taking control of Armory? Spirits. There must have been info there because XSET turned on Pino all at once. The buck, Kino on the Hibana to deliver the final blow. Good job from XSET, numbers advantage.
And the praise that I was giving to NiP for being so cautious and disciplined in that last round is starting to get thrown out of the window in this round. XSET taking a very different philosophy, just trying to take onto the map, control that they can. Wow, off the back of the drone, Spirits to find yet another kill in this particular round. It's not looking so good for NiP anymore.
NiP, you've got to learn your lesson. We knew very well that Diaz's drone was over there in workshop, and that enabled that kill. But it looks like NiP, instead of reducing their aggression, are going to turn it up to the next level, and they do manage to find Kino. And Wizard, all right, he finds another one as well, so don't knock it if it works. NiP have evened the numbers.
That was some perfectly timed aggression as well from both of these plays. Now the kid is on the ground. It has been retrieved by Gomez, but there's only 35 seconds left, Dev, and not that much utility to open up any of these walls. The players are not super consolidated right now either. What are they going to go for to get into the bomb site?
This is late. This is desperate. This is to win the half for XSET or for NiP to tie it up. Spirits, a flash in. He's on the AC balcony and has made his way into Archives, but Psycho's in the power position. He can take down Gomez, but the trades, they're back and forth, leaving Spirits the lone man alive. He can't even get his kill there onto Wizard. And NiP can tie up the half. They go even Stevens on their defense, 3 rounds apiece.
And that was just so wonderfully played from the roamers of NiP. They knew they were down numbers. Yes, you do have to go for the hero play, but we keep saying time and time again, it's about the timing of it. You don't just want to go for the hero play for the sake of going for the hero play. You want to do it at exactly the moment where XSET are going, ooh, giddy, we've got the picks up, let's go and do something special. Oh no, hang on a second, we've just lost 2 of our teammates. That's a position that you want to put XSET in if you're on the side of NiP, to freak them out like that and make them change their plan when it's so late into the round. Perfect timing.
So now a bit of a change of pace. We flip the switch and NiP go over onto the attacking side. After getting that momentum with rounding off the defense, I feel pretty good for NiP. And I think your prediction where you put NiP, I mean, you didn't necessarily say you think they're going to stomp XSET, but you think NiP's favored, right?
I think so.
Is it a big margin?
I don't think so. Okay.
Well, the scorer would agree with you. So I think you're going with a popular opinion right now. If I recall, the community vote was something along the lines of 60-40 in NiP's favour. And I'd probably back that in, especially with what we've seen so far in the first half. Keep in mind, XSET now maybe on the unfavoured side on defense, but they do have that tactical pause in the pocket.
XSET are actually replicating quite a similar philosophy as well to what NiP brought when they were defending this particular bomb site. They are leaning into those keeper barriers to architect some parts of the map and hold onto them for as long as they possibly can. That being said though, this XSET roam is not as extensive as I think the NiP one was. Yes, there is a hole in 90 and they are holding onto break room and inside of cubby as well, but it doesn't feel quite as aggressive, and I can't pin my finger down on why, but I'm very curious about this one of XSET.
Sometimes you just gotta wait and see.
Gotta wait and see.
I think it's a good time to remark upon the fact that NiP got to choose the starting side, they chose defense, which is against the grain, which is uncommon. Most teams would favour the attacking side, so they want to start there. XSET in overtime chose to start attack, a lot more usual. Muzi, oh my god, that was a floor bang, right? Like, I don't think Yoga actually saw him through that line of sight at that point. Good kickoff there for Yog.
And that seems very well read on the side of XSET as well. They're making these vertical angles because they feel that there's not a lot of pressure coming in through break. So what are they going for? They're going for below. That's exactly what XSET did when they were attacking this as well, right? An excellent read to make some impromptu vertical lines. That's the strength of the Aruni, is able to take down Muzi. And yes, XSET, just incredible read. And Yoga, oh, wow, that was a beautiful play from him.
Yeah, I mean, if you land a wallbang headshot, that's cool. If you land a floor bang headshot, it's even cooler. Another big setback for NiP. It's the Finker, right? You go low in any engagements, you're not getting that HP back. You're not getting Muzi's LMG back in his hands. He's got to sit on cams.
That being said, that the Finker is not mission critical to any push that they're trying to do. That's just your entry going down. Okay, that's fine. They still have tools in their arsenal that they can use if they want to try something new. And it seems like that's exactly what they're going for. They've pivoted over onto this east side of the map, instead trying to make their way into Archives, into that triple wall, rather than taking below and going up.
Information there from the zero. The SAM camp goes out, immediately taken down. Psycho's just got the one left. Very spread out push here from NiP, and Spirits once again punishing. XSET looking very confident on their defense. Is this going to be turned around? It certainly doesn't look like it. Kino's gone nuts as well. And all of these isolated 1v1s just showing XSET picking apart their prey.
NiP now, 19 seconds left and a 2 versus 5 situation. This is nigh impossible for them to win. A run out, even so confident on the side of Yoga, but it doesn't connect.
Right.
Wizard though, he's able to connect one back. 3 seconds, 3 on 1, there's just no way that he can do it. XSET, they can take another round.
Nice attempt at the end there, but it felt like the round was already over. XSET finding so many picks throughout that early and mid-round. 3 isolated 1v1s. And that essentially spells death for any attempt at an attack on this map. Mandy, I'm starting to wonder, did NiP pick defense first because they're really confident in their defense, or because they're not very confident in their attack?
I think that the way that NiP shape their team dynamic actually leans into the defense quite well, especially with how proficient their roamers are, especially their soft roamers just lurking adjacent to the bomb site. They're very good at that. They have 4 players that do that extremely well. And so playing on the defense, it makes sense. Now just watching that attack, it feels like NiP were a bit lost going into that attack now. They were on the same page. That's something that I'll give credit for them. But XSET seem to have a much better read on the architecture of the map than NiP do.
With that, NiP have a chance to prove us wrong about these attacks. I mean, it was just one round ago we were talking about how, yeah, definitely 60-40, NiP's favored, blah, blah, blah. And then when XSET come out with a defense as dominant as that, it starts to seed some doubt. We're seeing the Twitch pick from Psycho. We saw a lot of good Twitch from Diaz on XSET's own attacking side. Let's see if NiP can replicate. This is actually a Venson workshop defense, but as is typical for Border, as you've said, the meta these days, XSET holding onto as much of the map as humanly possible for as long as humanly possible.
And you can really see that they're contesting every single possible point of entry. You have a player inside of Customs holding onto Jail. That's a possible point of entry. You had a player inside of Break Room holding onto that Break Room door. That's a possible point of entry. Even a long line of sight going out onto the balcony for the Armory entry. They're just holding onto everything they possibly have, bar Easters. There's only so much you can hold onto, of course. But this is such a great defense on the side of XSET to press that attack onto NiP, who are really struggling to get into the building so far.
Yeah, the drones going down. There's only been 55 seconds of this round, and NiP only have 3 drones left. Now, keep in mind, they have 1 less normal drone than usual because of Psycho playing the Twitch, and Twitch doesn't get an action phase normal drone. But that's, I mean, especially if this Twitch drone goes down before getting a lot of info, that's pretty poor from NiP, and that pattern seems to continue here, Mandy. I got to admit, I'm a bit concerned. XSET have the control here, and NiP are looking a bit lost.
Ooh, though Wizard is able to trade one back on the cutoff from outside of Archives. It couldn't spell too much disaster dev. They still have a way into this game. Pino now making his way, sneaking his way through the mezzanine, could catch his break room player off guard. It just feels like NiP are choking out these players ever so slowly.
Oh, little does Pino know, right around the corner, Spirits is there. He hears the player. Oh, it's a messy gunfight. Hello? Wait, where is Spirits going? He went for a jog outside. He finally comes back in through Passport. Yeah, you saw that right. That was a defender going for a jog outside. But elsewhere, XSET found a pick, so seemingly unpunished for their shenanigans, and Spirits managed to find a pick as well. So he goes for a jog outside, comes back in, finds a pick, and it's looking like XSET are going to lock out this round.
Like I said, XSET, it just feels like their understanding of the architecture of this map is well and truly beyond what NiP have been able to do. NiP are looking for this probe kind of attack where they start out around all the sides of the map. They're just walking through a window, looking through a doorway, seeing what they can try to find. But XSET already have their routes pre-planned for how they're going to fall off, how they're going to take each gunfight on the entry, and that it just feels like NiP are playing into the hands of the XSET strategy.
And just desperately opening up vertical game doesn't give them anything. Plant going down. This is the chance for NiP. If they can lock in this plan, it could be a good pose, but no! Oh, Wizard had to cover everything, and he just couldn't get the last one. Spirits goes down, but dropping straight into a crossfire, and XSET find themselves just 1 round away from match point.
XSET looking good on their defense so far. They've shown us a strat book that is much more coherent, cohesive, and manageable compared to the NiP strat book, if you would ask me. The one that XSET are currently running, it feels very fluent. It feels like each part of the map that they're holding has an intention behind it that is very clear. When we saw the NiP strat, I know that someone could sit down and they could break down that strat for hours, and I'm sure that they would find something good out of it. But because it is so dynamic, it really is a maze for the defenders, and XSET was so good at capitalizing on it when they were attacking it. Now, in their defense, they're playing the architecture just much more masterfully.
Yeah, and I mean, XSET here, after losing out to Rogue and getting 0 points for it, despite some really nice rounds, especially at the start of that game, they might be able to get some points on the board here. It looks like, I mean, if one more round and they guarantee at least 1 point on the board, but I'm backing in XSET now. I'm going to flip-flop. I know it's frowned upon.
Flip-flop?
It is frowned upon in our line of work, but I am going to do the old flippy-flop. I'm going to say XSET looking favoured here. I mean, it's easy to say that. They're winning, right? But it's just, you look at the nature of these rounds, and XSET, they look so good on their defense. I mean, it's funny. They seem to prepare their attack because they picked it in overtime. They decided to go to attack in OT. But you can just see that it's another level. Like, NiP don't have the attacks that are required to deal with the style of defense that XSET have set before them. And that's going to cost NiP this game.
That being said, though, NiP did just take their tactical timeout off the back of losing that round. I can only imagine that they're trying to reconsolidate their thoughts, change their philosophy going into this next round, because they've realized, okay, we've tried the same thing 2 or 3 times now. Bang, bang, it hasn't worked out. Try something new. We know that LATAM, they're very good at being adaptable. That's what I love about this region so much. And if they want their way back into this game, that's what they're going to need.
And what's more from NiP, right? You take a tactical timeout after losing 2 attacks in a row. It means that you know you're not going to be attacking the 2 sides you just lost, right? They're locked for XSET. You can't go back to Armory Workshop, can't go back to Workshop Ventilation, which narrows it down. And NiP can be really efficient with their tactical pulls. All right, guys, first things first. We know we're going to be attacking Teller's Bathroom or Customs and Supply. And next up, it's just whatever the coaching team for NiP wants to talk about. I think it's Midi at the moment who's behind NiP. I know it used to be Bob, but I think they got Midi at the moment behind the players. And he's got to be the one that's saying, look, guys, put your heads in. This is what the go is. And if Gomez can land a spawn pick, that would certainly be a tilter. But thankfully for NiP, it's a no-go.
And we can already see the big change in philosophy from NiP. No more, barely any hard breach, no hard breach actually left on the board for them. This is a full, quote-unquote, rush lineup, changing the pace of the attack. I think that's something that's such a good idea on the side of NiP. It's been slow. It's been stagnant. Bringing these operators, these are enabling operators to get you in, to put you in some very precarious positions.
It's almost the exact same operator lineup that we saw previously. Oh, hang on a second, look at this! The Candela thrown in through the triangle, that's going to blind anyone playing in Bathroom. Funnily enough, there's nobody in there.
Oh no!
The plant's going down. Hang on a second, you just never see this. What a plant next to the vending machine. Is this year 1? What a play from NiP. Thankfully for XSET, they managed to stay alive. All 5 players still up, and now it's up to NiP in the post plant to lock them down.
But this is just such a tough post line to win. 3 players on the rappel. The Glaz is up for the defuse.
Oh
it
my
starts
God.
to go up, but Muzi's able to take him
He's
down.
gonna
Can
stick
Kino
it.
stick it?
Oh my God! What a play from Kino and from XSET to find their way to match point with the Ninja defuse against the Ninjas themselves. What a show we have had today by XSET.
NiP and XSET, both of them bringing the entertainment to your pictures now and today in this moment. That was such a crazy rush strategy, so calculated. The Ying through the drone hole, the Glaz play to cover those smokes, but in the end, XSET, they go, guys, flood back, protect Mr. President. He's got to defuse right now. We need to peek these windows and take down that upside down rappel player, and wow, XSET straight on the board, getting back into it.
I mean, how good was that? I think it was Spirits on the Azami.
Yeah.
Thrown under the window.
Yeah.
Right next to Kino. He's just holding on to that counter diffuse device for dear life. And Spirits, he was a sacrificial lamb for the betterment of the team. What a play. I mean, this is such a pleasure to watch. XSET bounce back after losing Oregon to Rogue. That was a heartbreaker for them. And they found redemption here against NiP. They've got their first point on the board. They're sitting above DAMWON. And there's a chance now to lock in 3 points and get this. Rocket up into second place in the group. because they'll have the head-to-head over NiP with the same number of points as them. This is a huge game. Come down to Playday 3, we might be trying to separate XSET and NiP to go to the playoffs, and every head-to-head result works so much in your favor.
And that's just the danger of this point system, don't you think so? You want to win it in regulation so badly. Overtime losses, it's not going to cut it. Overtime wins even, if it comes down to it, is not going to cut it. Now NiP, they're once again going with this lineup, trying to change this pace and press the attack early on, and it seems to be working out for them so far. Muzi's in the building much earlier than we've seen NiP able to do before, but once again they're looking for this bottom-up attack, which hasn't worked out for them historically.
I mean, none of these attacks have worked for NiP. That's 3 rounds in a row that XSET have won their defense, locked NiP out of the game. And now XSET goes straight back to a bomb site where they've won before. Pino might actually be able to find a pick through the vertical that was opened by Flores, but doesn't seem too wary at the moment. Be able to go for a vertical nade. Much needed now for NiP.
XSET, though, they're not willing to give their lives. Oh, I have just completely cursed that as Kino runs into Muzi. His incredible read. Another grenade to go out and try and connect onto another anchor, but he's not going to find anything. But this time, NiP, they're up in the man advantage. Now, we saw them do this in the last round with that rush, and they weren't able to convert it. XSET were able to jump back on it, but this round is very different. The pace is so vastly different, and they're really taking their time to get into this bomb site.
Pivotal player Kino's down and out as well.
Uh-oh.
Is this going to land? It could be the perfect timing. Oh my god, so low taken, but Gomez can trade it through the hatch. A C4 doesn't get any damage seemingly. On to Kamikaze on the other side. Gets a bit overzealous and Psycho will punish him. Numbers advantage back on it. The NiP side. As the Candelas go out, Muzi's on for a push. Spots out. Spirits just needs to land a single bullet to secure the kill. But he can't land the fatal shot, and Spirits still at large.
Now the smokes start to go out for NiP. It looks like they were trying to get in onto the bomb site, but poorly timed, as eventually your Flores player is going to go down as well. Psycho, the final Candela to roll out for Wizard. It doesn't seem like it's going to work out for NiP.
Yeah, this is all over, surely, for NiP. But Muzi steps up, evens up the man count. Both teams have got a player low on HP. But you know what NiP are low on right now? It's time. 20 seconds left to trade. It's going to be a 1v1 and Spirits to clutch the game. XSET, regulation victory, the 3 points on the board. And it looks like the North American Brazilian experiment is beating Brazil.
And such an incredible comeback from XSET. Such a disappointing loss that they had in the first series, but they show they can reset. They can get back into it. They have the mental game that brings them back into this major that they are never going to give up, not even against NiP, who have looked so good in their first series. What a game of border that we have just watched. A masterful one from XSET.
Look at that, bit of pride there. Is that Kino? I can't quite see from here. I love that bit of spray of the deodorant. I don't blame them. That was a pretty sweaty game. We're feeling that here too. It's a hot day in Berlin, and the matches have been heating up as well. There you go. Egg on both of our faces. NiP didn't turn out so good. Really, things changed when they switched onto their attacking side.
It just felt like XSET had such a grip on this entire map. Not just on particular sites, but they were able to maneuver their way around the map that NiP weren't able to catch off. NiP couldn't punish anything because XSET didn't make mistakes. They were so careful. And that was a big difference between both of these teams. And just, I'm blown away with some of the strategies that XSET brought out. They were simple, but they were very coherent. And I love that from that team so much.
What a game. Well, we'll break it all down in just a moment. But before that, we're going to a quick break.